Nandanaaya cha Nandagopkumara Govindaya namo namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Dear devotees, you are welcome for continuity of our Bhakti Vedanta study of 10th canto, 10th canto Srimad Bhagvatam, prayers by Lord Brahma. We are in the last section, verse, there are one more section, 49 to 55. Dearmost thing of the embodied soul is the self. So this is some philosophical section, and these 5 verses almost. So these 5-6 verses discussing who is dearmost in the life, and the dearmost is the self, and higher than that, actually dearmost is the super self. So this verse we have started last time. Sri Shuka Vacha Sarvesham api bhutanam nirpa swatmaeva vallabha. This is an answer to the question asked by Parikshit Maharaj. How come Krishna is so much dear to the mothers even more than their own sons? So then this philosophical discussion started. Itraye apatya vitadyas tada valabhasya valabhattayeva hi. So Goswami continued, O king, for every created being, the dearmost thing is certainly his own self. Then we told the story of monkey and baby monkey. The dearness of everything else, children, wealth, and so on, is due only to the dearness to the self. And here, Srila Prabhupada's disciple, we have discussed last time, we are just repeating. Sometimes modern thinkers become puzzled when they study the psychology of moral behavior. Although every living entity is inclined towards self-preservation, as stated here, sometimes a person voluntarily sacrifices his own apparent interests through philanthropic or patriotic activities such as giving his money for the benefit of others or giving his life for the national interests. Such so-called selfless behavior appears to contradict the principle of material self-centeredness and self-preservation. As explained in this verse, however, living entities serves as society, nation, family, and so on only because these objects of affection represent the expanded concept of false ego, means I-ness and my-ness. I-ness and my-ness, that it means it is centered on self. A patriarch sees himself as a great servitor of a great nation, and thus he sacrifices his life to gratify his sense of egotism, my-ness, I-ness. Similarly, it is common knowledge that man feels great pleasure by thinking that he is sacrificing everything to please his dear wife and children. A man derives great egotistic pleasure by seeing himself as selfless well-wisher of his so-called family and community. Thus, to gratify his proud sense of false ego, a man is prepared even to lay down his life. This apparently contradictory behavior is yet another demonstration of the bewilderment of the material life, which has neither rhythm nor reason, being a manifestation of gross ignorance of non-material soul. Srila Prabhupada used to say, self-sense enjoyment or extended self-enjoyment, sense enjoyment. Family, society, humanity, nation, All this is extended sense gratification. Chakravarti Pad writes 5 verses 50 to 54. Sukdev Goswami explained, O king, in this material world, it is seen that natural tendency to love oneself more than one's children or other persons one may claim as one's own. By understanding this one will come to understand the final truth. Final truth is soul. The word Vallabha, dearmost, means, according to material vision, the object of great love. That love is different for each different body, as is affirmed here by the word itare, others. And Jiva Goswami writes, Krishna as a Paramatma gives affection to all beings. So from where the affection for everybody is coming, family, nation, society, from Paramatma. He is dearer to everyone than their own Atma. This is higher truth. This is the real understanding. We love ourselves because Krishna as a Paramatma is more dear to us. What to speak of being dearer than one's relative and objects which give pleasure? To say that first the dearness of the one's own Atma is established. All other dear objects are based upon this. This is explained in 5 verses. Because of no clear distinction of the body from soul, Svatma, here refers to the conception of self arising from Ahankar. That our Prabhupada's disciple has used the word egotism. Thus, possessiveness in this case exclude prem. So there is no love. The word swa, own, indicate that every individual experiences the self. O king, because of such qualities in human, the king also protect the citizen. The word he indicate that the experience is the proof. So this is not actually love, but this is all extended me and myness, ahankar. Same thing, Sanatana Goswami Pad writes, Krishna as Paramatma gives affection for all beings. He is dearer to everyone than their own Atma. What to speak of being dearer than one's relatives and so, almost same thing. Verse, similar verse is in Srimad Bhagvatam 10.4.2. Atma jaya sutagar pashu draivina bandhushu. These all words are Atma means body, Jaya means wife, Sut means son, Agar means other relatives or home, Pashu means animals, which may be vehicles now, car, and Drivina means wealth, and Bandhushu means relatives. Raja cha vikale nityam, Raja cha avikale nityam, viruddham mamatam jahu. Mamatam means myness. Viruddham. Nityam virudham mamatam jahu. Jahu means give up. Give up this type of, and Rajya means your kingdom. Chaiva, another thing. Should be kale. Chaiva cha eva kale nityam. So this is always attachment to these things and one has to give it up. Now verse number 51. Tadrajendra yatha sneha swakatmani dehinam na tatha mamattalambi putra vittah grahadisho. For this reason, O best of the kings, Rajendra, the embodied soul is self-centered. He loves himself only. He is more attached to his own body, next, and the self means soul, than to his so-called possessions like children, wealth and home. Srila Prabhupada's disciple write, it is now common practice all over the world for the mother to kill her own child within the womb if the birth of that child represents any inconvenience for her. Similarly, grown children eagerly place their elderly parents in lonely institutions rather than be inconvenienced by their presence at home. These and innumerable other examples prove that people in general are more attached to their own body and self. Two examples are given. More interest in one's convenience than children or elderly parents. So it is self-centered. And they are attached to their own body and self, which represent I-ness, that is their family, and other possessions, which represent my-ness, I-ness and my-ness. Although conditioned souls are very proud of their so-called love for society, family, and so forth. In reality, every conditioned soul is acting on the platform of gross or subtle selfishness. Gross, families, personals, and subtle to all these different relations. The reference for one's own self over attachment to son, wealth, and house is natural. And Sri Jiva Goswami writes, negative aspect is shown. Srila Swami explained this in terms of ahankar, which means false ego. The next verse, however, indicates this with the word Dehe Atma Vadinam. Those who think the self is the body. Deha means body, Atma means self, Vadinam means those who have that philosophy. Body is the self. Other versions of the words are not approved because of the intended statement and mention of the body in the next verse. Therefore, mamatavalambi can have a locative meaning since it is separated from the final class. Mamata means my-ness. Avalambi means because of that. The objects of possessiveness, that is mamta alambi, have less attraction than self. O king, you know well that even the king does not have as much affection for kingdom as he does for himself. So the comparison kingdom and king. So kingdom is like body and king is like soul. So similarly, the children are like kingdom and oneself is like a soul. This is the analogy. And Sanatana Goswami writes, one has affection for one's own Atma in the body, Swak Atma. Sridhar Swami explained this in terms of ahankar, same thing. Almost same thing. Verse number 52. Deha Atmavadinam Puncham. Puncham means people who think their body as self. Api Rajanya Satam. Rajanya Satam, you are the best among the kings. Yatha Deha Priyatamasaha Tatha Nahe Ano Ye Chatam. So for them, nothing is dear than body. Indeed, for persons who think the body, the self, the best of kings, those things whose importance lies only in the relationship to the body are never as dear as the body itself. Fools consider the self to be material body. Chakravarti Pad writes, Deha Atmavadina means fools who consider the self to be material body. And this is mostly 99%, except those who are spiritually inclined, they think like that. To describe the nature of such a person, Sukadeva Goswami here declared that attachment of such person for their own body is more than for their son, wealth, and house. Dehatmavadinam refer to those people who are extremely undiscriminating, thinking the body to be the self. Even they, however, take the self as the most dear. By identifying the self with the body becomes dearest. He means certainly, cha means but. O best of the king, those kings who think the body is the self are not good. Those who understand the Atma are good. Those who understand the Lord are better. Those who have affection for Krishna alone are the best. And thus you are the best king. Rajanya Satam. Rajanya Satam. So last part, Jiva Goswami writes, even the king thinks his body, that is not good. But if he thinks Atma, it is good. If he thinks Paramatma is better. But if you think Krishna, then it is the best. Verse 53. Deheopi mamata bhakache tarayasau natma swapriyaha yajiryati api dehe asmin jijiva shabariyasi. If the person come to the stage of considering body, mine, instead of me, mine means it belongs to me, or instead of me, he will certainly not consider the body as dear as his own self, because then self is different than body. Body is mine means I am different from the body. After all, even as the body is growing old and useless, one's desire to continue living remains strong. It means soul is different than body. That's what the idea is coming now. Srila Prabhupada disciples write, the word mamata bhak is very significant here. An ordinary foolish person thinks, I am this body. A more discriminating, intelligent person thinks, this is my body. In the literature, the folklore of the ordinary people, we find the common theme of an old, desperate person dreaming of obtaining a new young body. Thus, even ordinary person pick up the notion of self-realization because they think old body is not useful. I want to enjoy more. It means I am different than body. So they have some self-realization. Instinctively understanding that it is possible for the soul to exist in many different bodies. As the body of an intelligent person becomes old and useless, he strongly desires to live, even when he knows that his body cannot live much longer. This indicates he is gradually becoming aware that his self is more important than his body. Thus, simply the desire for the life can indirectly bring one to the preliminary understanding of self-realization. And in this case as well, one's basic attachment to one's own self and not that which supposedly belongs to the oneself. It may be pointed out that the entire discussion between the King Parikshit and Sukdev Goswami regarding the dearness of one's own self is ultimately meant for broaching the subject of why the cows and coward ladies of the Vrindavan considered Krishna more dear than their own selves, and certainly more dear than their own offspring. The discussion proceeds as follows. So the idea is to know why Krishna is more dear. Chakravarti Pad writes, this verse explains how the materialists who affirm that the material body is the self eventually become wise. How they eventually become wise? Then they also understand the self is the soul, not the material body. And the soul is to be loved, not the body, material body. The body is dear only because of the soul. When the person who thinks I am this body becomes a little wise, he begins to understand I am not this body. Rather, the body is mine. Not a me, is mine. At that time, the soul becomes dear to him. Then the material body is not as dear as soul to him. This means the body is only dear because it has a relationship with soul. The second half of this verse gives the direct experience of the ordinary person as evidence to prove this. A person may see that the death of the material body is naturally very painful. Thus he will pray, let my death not be painful. Although such a person may intelligently understand that he is actually a spirit soul and not the material body, still his yearning to remain alive in material body may be even stronger than that knowledge. Yeah, I think this is completely right. When you grow old, you can think, though there are so many disabilities and different diseases and disrespect and whatnot, but still people want to live. This is the concept, material concept. Jiva Goswami writes at two places, in Karma Sandarbha and then Laghu Vaishnava Toshani. He takes the position of a person who thinks they are body. By removing the concept of me and mine from the body, one realizes Atma. Thinking of sons takes place in the condition of the ignorance. The predominance of such ignorance is criticized. The opposite is the person have discriminant. Because of the possessiveness, when the body and son decay, the desire to live with the body becomes stronger, since the body is related to Atma. There is another meaning. The body which was considered to be the soul in the previous verse is not dear like the soul. Since one becomes afflicted by disease and desire to live in the body become weaker. Baliyasi. By discrimination, a person understands that the body is not the self, thus it is no longer dear. Verse 54, last of this section. Tasmad priyatam swatma sarvesham api dehinam. All those who have body, really the most dear thing is one's own soul. Tadartham eva sakalam, and for that soul, everybody. Jagata eta characharam, both living and non-living, everybody. This is the basic principle. Therefore, it is his own self that is more dear to every embodied living being, and it is simply for the satisfaction of the self that the whole material creation of moving and non-moving entities exist. Srila Prabhupada disciple, the word characharam indicate moving living entities such as animal and non-moving living entities such as trees. Or the word may also refer to moving possessions such as one's family and pets, and non-moving possessions such as one's house and household paraphernalia. Chakravarti writes, thus it is proved by ordinary vision that everyone loves his own self more than he loves his children and other persons. In the word characharam, moving and non-moving entities, char refers to wife, children and other persons because they are moving. And achar refers to non-moving possessions such as one's clothing, home and household paraphernalia. So these are the different meaning achar and achar in this verse. Thus the jiva understand himself as dearest, since that is chief swarup of him. The word church to the body and sons and achar to the house, same thing. Now next verse 55 to 61, Krishna is the ultimate object of love and ultimate shelter. And then there is a phala shruti, means what is the benefit if somebody hears this pastime of Brahma's prayers to Krishna. Krishna me name vehi tvam atmanam akhilatmanam jagataya jagatadhitaya so api atra dehi va bhati mayaya. Krishna enam evihi tvam atmanam akhilatmanam. Actually, Krishna, you are actually dear. You should know Krishna to be the original soul of all living entities, atmanam atma. For the benefit of the whole universe, he has, out of his causeless mercy, mayaya, appeared as an ordinary human being. He has done this by the strength of his internal potency. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada disciple write, Madhya Leela chapter 20, text 160, Srila Prabhupada comments on this verse as follows. Parikshit Maharaj asked Sukdev Goswami why Krishna was so beloved by the residents of Vrindavan, who loved him even more than their own offspring or life itself. At that time, Sukdev Goswami replied that everyone's Atma or soul is very, very dear, especially to all living entities who have accepted material bodies. However, the Atma, the spirit soul, is part and parcel of Krishna. Now, these 5 verses are only focused on Atma. Now it is further advancing to the owner of the Atma. The Atma is part and parcel of Krishna. For this reason, Krishna is very dear to every living entity. Everyone's body is very dear to oneself. And one wants to protect the body by all means because within the body the soul is living. Due to the intimate relationship between soul and body, the body is important and dear to everyone. Similarly, the soul being part and parcel of Krishna, the Supreme Lord Krishna is very, very dear to all living entities. Unfortunately, the soul forget his constitutional position and think he is only the body, Deha Atma Buddhi. Thus, the soul is subjected to rules and regulation of material nature. When the living entity, by his intelligence, reawaken his attraction for Krishna, he can understand that he is not the body but part and parcel of Krishna. Thus, filled with knowledge, he no longer labors under attachment to the body and everything related to the body. Janasya moho ayam aham mameti. Vrishabdev's teaching. Material existence, wherein one thinks I am the body and this belongs to me, is also illusory. One must redirect his attraction to Krishna. Srimad Bhagvatam 127 states, Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Payojita Janasya Asu Vairagyam Gyanam Chayat Ahitukam. By rendering devotional service to personality Godhead Sri Krishna, one can immediately acquire causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. Chakravartipad writes, this verse established the conclusion of discussion between Maharaj Parikshit and Sukdev Goswami about the dearness of Krishna more than their own children. When one sees the truth, he realizes that individual spirit soul is only an intermediate object of love between the body and super soul. The final highest object of love is Sri Krishna alone. Like in the study of the Gyanis, the Upanishad and everything is the intermediate object. The higher is Bhagvatam. So that is the intermediate realization of Brahma, or knowledge of the Atma. But higher then is the love of God, which is in Bhagavatam. Brahma said, Krishna is the soul of the universe and super soul present in hearts of all conditioned souls. Krishna is the soul of universe, as a Garbhodakshai Vishnu. He is the super soul in every one's heart as a Kshirodakshai Vishnu. A person loves children and other persons because they bring pleasure to his own material body. In the same way, a person loves his own material body because it brings pleasure to himself, at the spirit soul. Also, in the same way, the person loves his true self, his spiritual identity, because he brings pleasure to the super soul. The super soul is Sri Krishna, whose spiritual form is perfect and complete. In Bhagavad Gita 10:42, Krishna declares, Vishtabhya aham idam krishnam ekansena sthito jagat. With a single fragment of myself, which means super soul, I pervade and support the entire creation. The conclusion is that because Krishna is the highest object of love, the greatest love is felt for him. Thus the Virja Gopis loved Krishna even more than they loved their own sons. Furthermore, how can the conditioned soul, who have no love and devotion for Krishna and whose knowledge is covered by Maya, directly perceive Lord Krishna, who is revealed only by bhakti? They cannot directly perceive Krishna because such persons have given all their love to their children and others. However, because Brajavasis were beyond the touch of Maya and full of love for Krishna, they are Rag Atmik Bhakta. It means their very self was attached to Krishna. Their soul was attached to Krishna. Their only purpose is to please Krishna, to give pleasure to Krishna. That is the highest love. And they could directly perceive the Lord. Thus, it was because they are Gop and Gopis, and Go means senses and P means drink. They were drinking with their senses the beauty of Krishna, the flute playing of Krishna, touch of Krishna, remnant of Krishna, everything, food and cloth and everything. Thus, it was natural that they showed more love for Krishna than their own sons. Then Krishna appeared in the world. When Krishna appeared in this world to benefit the conditioned soul, Jagat Hitaya, the ignorant think that he has a material body, Dehiva, like their own, a body created by Maya. But that is only an appearance, not the fact. Sri Madhusudan Saraswati, he was a great Mayavadi scholar, but afterwards he became great devotee of Sri Krishna. Sat o Satchitta Sukhaika Vapusha Purushottamasya Narayana Samahima Nahi Manam Eti. No one can count all the glories of Lord Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose form is eternal and full of knowledge and bliss. He also declares, Chidanadakaram Jalada Ruchi Saram Sthiti Giram Brajjaha Strinam Haram. Krishna, charm of the woman of Braj. The Veda declared the king's form, dark, Krishna's form, dark like a monsoon cloud, is eternal and full of bliss. Vansi Vibhushat Karan Bhav. This is a very famous verse of Madhusudan Chakravarti. So Karanan in the heart, Vansi, the flute is in his hand, Pitambrat is wonderful verse. Krishna Param Tattva Aham Na Jane. I don't know any conclusive truth beyond Krishna. So he has a Madhusudana Tika on Bhagavad Gita commentary, and sometime Chakravarti Pad quotes that. Someone may object, the super soul cannot be seen by the senses, but Krishna was easily seen by everyone. Therefore, Krishna cannot be the super soul. This verse ends verse. How? To benefit the living entities in the material world, Krishna appeared by his causeless and inconceivable mercy to be an ordinary conditioned soul. Thus, Krishna is directly perceived by the senses of the conditioned soul. Although in ordinary circumstances, Krishna is never perceived by the material senses. Lord Narayan says in Brahda Bhagavata Amrita to the Gopkumar definitely that though Krishna is eternally unmanifest, He becomes visible by his own desire. Otherwise, who can see him? Sanatana Goswami says that Krishna becomes manifest by his own power, but he is not revealed to the eyes of an object of sense perception. Outside of Vrindavan, Krishna bestows his sweetness through his mercy to favorable persons. To inimical persons, Krishna shows his form but devoid of sweetness for perfecting their meditation, involving their material senses. So like Kansa and others, Krishna was there like a great enemy. They were seeing him, but they were not knowing that he is God. As a result of their meditation, Krishna bestowed liberation to extinguish their offenses. This is how Krishna gives auspiciousness to them. So he gives auspicious even to the demons. Although Krishna covered his supreme majesty to appear like an ordinary mortal being before the inhabitant of Braja and before inimical person, it is improper to call Krishna as a Jeev with a material body. Therefore, this verse describes Krishna Dehi va Bhati, appearing to be a soul within human body. Madhvacharya quotes a Varha Puran, for the Lord there is no difference between body and soul, Dehi and Dehi. Interesting verse, particularly how Krishna, he is not revealing his sweetness in front of everybody. Naam prakashati sarvasya yoga maya samavartaha muro nabi janati. But they don't know. You don't know them. Yes, I know them. Or even their enemies, I cheat them. I make them somehow attached to me. Even in a enviousness, in a anger. And by that meditation, they are also delivered by me. Chakravarti Jiva Goswami writes, he states the main points, Sukadeva Goswami. Knowing that Krishna, the son of Yashoda, manifests himself by himself, Abhati, exists in this universe, Atra, for the benefit of universe, Jagat Hitaya, like an ordinary living being, Dehi Eva. Eva means like. He is not Dehi, but he looks like. As if having opposing elements of the body and Atma by his Maya, Yoga Maya. He is not only highest Swarup for all the Jivas, but ultimately for all the unconscious item as well. It's everything ultimately is the expansion of Maya, which belongs to Krishna. Unconscious means material. And Laghu Vaishnava Toshni, Jiva Goswami writes, this verse states that the pure Atma separate from grass and subtle body is by nature dear. Krishir bhu vachak shabdo nascha nivarti vachakaha. This is the meaning of this by Gopal Guru. Tayor aikam param brahma Krishna iti abhidhiyate. Krishna means existence and na means bliss. Combined together, the two roots indicate the Krishna, the supreme form of God. One should know that Krishna is defined in scripture, the son of Yashoda, is the supreme soul, with the supreme form for all pure souls who are like photons in the rays of the sun. How does he reveal himself in this world visibly? Though he is supreme form among all souls, he appears in the world to benefit the world in association with his devotees out of his great mercy, since he is endowed with all auspicious qualities. He appears kalp after kalp, day after in each Brahma's day, by his Swarup Shakti. If this is so, why does he appear with contrary qualities, with distinction of the soul and body? This is not so. Since there is no mixture of the Lord Swarup with the different substance, since he as the supreme soul is in all his parts the shelter of the purest prem. Purest prem means purest love for his devotees and Atmarams. Devotees are outright devotees coming from spiritual world, and Atma Rams are person like Sukdev Goswami who are Brahmanandi. He is the shelter of pure prem. He is shelter of pure prem, Ashray. He is the real Atma. He is bliss. Madhva quotes Mahavara Puran Dehi Deha Vibhago Atra Naishware Vidyate Kvachit. There is never a distinction between the Lord and his body. He does not appear to be like this, however, because of the covering of Maya on the demon and others. Because they don't know demon, they say like this. Naham prakash sarvasya yoga maya samavrta. So here same verse is quoted. Srila Swami comments that it is impossible for intelligence to comprehend the power of the Lord's Maya, which makes the impossible possible. In the heart of his devotee filled with prem, Krishna, who has prem as his nature, revealed himself in an even greater fashion with his sweet qualities, like milk with yogurt added. He appears to others according to their qualities. Then what can one say of the people of Vraj, whose quality is most intense prem? Sanatana Goswami writes, Krishna is the soul of all jiva because he is the antaryami, which means super soul. He is Paramatma. He is the son of Yashoda, Enam. Even so, he has appeared here or in this world, Atra. He seems to be like other people, Dehiva, because of the Maya. By not knowing the truth about him, one thinks in this way. Though acting like a human, everything he does is beyond this world. That was stated in the beginning of the verse. He appears like an ordinary person, but he is not an ordinary person. But in truth, he manifests himself with supreme power. The other meaning could be or by his mercy, Maya. The another meaning of Maya is mercy. He appears like a jeev, but not a jeev, and shines gloriously, abhati. Because of that, know that Krishna, for the benefit of the world, is the soul of all beings who are dear. He has appeared in this world as Krishna to destroy the suffering of the world and give it the highest bliss. One should have affection for Krishna. Affection for Paramatma is limited. Limited means Paramatma is only in this material world. If you say this, why do the demons not having affection for Krishna? In answer to this, it is said that though he is devoid of difference of body and soul, he appears to have a material body, Dehiva, for the demon, Atra, by his Avarana Shakti, Maya. Another meaning. Dehi avibhago atra neshevare didyate, ko the same verse quoted by Madhvacharya from Mahavara Purana. Covering, however, is completely destroyed by bhakti. By intensity of bhakti, one develops intensity of prem. The people of Vraj have the most intense prem because of their special intent. And this is a purport by Srila Prabhupada. This is the quotation from Srimad Bhagvatam 10:14-55. Parikshit Maharaj asked Sukdev. This is a purport in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Prabhupada writes, Parikshit Maharaj asked Sukdev Goswami why Krishna was so beloved by Regina Vrindavan, who loved him even more than their own offspring, or life itself. When we are reading all this, we should apply to ourselves. We should love Krishna more than our own self or any of our possessions. This is for self-application actually. This section is giving us how really to introvertedly think about the teachings here from Brahma, the inaugurator of our parampara, that we should love more Krishna than ourselves or our possessions. At that time, Sukdev Goswami replied that everyone's Atma or soul is very dear, especially to all living entities who have accepted material bodies. But the Atma, the spirit soul, is part and parcel of Krishna, For this reason, Krishna is very dear to every living entity. So same thing from Chakravarti Pad's purport. Srila Prabhupada has given same thing in that mood. Everyone's body is very dear to oneself and one wants to protect the body by all means because within the body the soul is living. Due to the intimate relationship between the soul and the body is important and dear to everyone. Similarly, soul being part and parcel of Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is very, very dear to all the living entities. Unfortunately, soul forgets this constant position and thinks he is only the body, deha atma buddhi. Thus the soul is subjected to the rules and regulations exactly same as it is. Janasya moho aham, same almost Vasudev Bhagavati complete sentence. Verse number 56. Vastuto janatam atra krishnam sthasnosho charishno cha bhagavata rupam akhilam na anyad vasta iha kinchanaha. Those in this world who understand Krishna as he is see all things, whether stationary or moving, as manifest forms of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such enlightened person recognize no reality apart from this Supreme Lord Krishna. This is the Chaturshloki Bhagavat. Anything exists here is because of Krishna, and anything which is not connected with Krishna is Maya. So everything ultimately belongs to Krishna. Everything exists within Lord Krishna and Krishna exists within everything. Still, the order of progression is always from energetic to expanded energy. It means Krishna exists within, everything will exists within Krishna means Krishna's energy, either material in the material world or spiritual in the spiritual world. And Krishna exists within everything as super soul. Still, the order of progression is always energetic means Krishna to the expanded energy, which means Krishna and his energy. Though they are non-different, but the energetic to energy is a flow. Lord Krishna is the original identity from whom all other identities emanates. Nitya Nityanam Chetas Chetranam. He is the supreme energetic from whom all the categories and dimension of energy become manifest. Category means internal, marginal and external, and dimension means in the spiritual world or material world are in between. He is the supreme energetic, from him all the categories. Thus our personal bodies, self, family, friend, nation, planet, universe and so on are all manifestation of the Supreme Lord who expand himself through the personal potencies, so through his energies. Lord Krishna is certainly because ultimately everybody's body is made from the external energy and everybody's soul is part and a part of Krishna, so everybody ultimately belongs to Krishna, either is a family or friend or nation or planet or whatever. It is made up of 24 elements from the material energy and the soul part and part of Krishna. Both are ultimately belongs to Krishna. Lord Krishna is certainly the supreme object of our love and attraction, and other objects such as body, family, home should be secondary object of our affection. Moreover, a close analytic study of the actual situation will reveal that even the secondary object of love are also manifestation of Lord Krishna. The conclusion is that Lord Krishna is our only friend and object. There's a one sutra I used to say, originally I heard from a great devotee. The principle should be we should all love Krishna and keep relationship with our relatives. If we do the just opposite, we love the world and keep relation with Krishna, then always everybody will be frustrated. The system, the principle is love Krishna and keep perfect relationship with world. That is the proper philosophy. In Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada writes, without being an expansion of Krishna, nothing can be attractive. It means everything is attractive because it is the expansion of Krishna, because Krishna is all attractive. Whatever is attractive within the cosmic manifestation is due to Krishna. Krishna is therefore the reservoir of all pleasure. The active principle of everything is Krishna, and highly elevated transcendentalists are everything in connection with him. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita it is stated, Mahabhagavat, a highly advanced devotee, sees Krishna as the active principle in all movable and immovable living entities. Therefore, he sees everything within this cosmic manifestation in relation to Krishna. Chakravarti Pad writes, this verse states that after concerning all the object of love, such as one's son, body, soul, and wise souls, the wise conclude that Krishna is the ultimate object of love. In this verse, the word vastutaha, in truth, vastuta means in truth, has the sense of but finally, which means finally. Therefore, those who know Krishna see him as the cause of all moving and non-moving entities, because Krishna is the creator of all. In one sense, he is same as his creation. And Jiva Goswami writes, in order to see that Krishna, the supreme form, is not only all jiva but for inanimate object also, he first explained the greatness of Krishna among all forms. In truth, in this world, for those who consider carefully, all living and inanimate objects are all form of Lord, such as Narayan, are included in Krishna. Anything that is not in him does not exist. By knowing the cause, one knows the result. By knowing the by knowing the Ansi means Krishna, one knows the answer, means his offspring. When the cause is absent, the result is absent. Cause is Krishna. So dekha je puri. By knowing the Ansi, one knows the Ans. When the cause is absent, the result is absent. Everything else is like foam on waves in a large ocean. Everything like photon external to the sun globe. It is said in second canto, Yo ayam te abhitastat bhagavan vishwa bhavanaha samasena harer na anyad anyam mata sada asachayat. Bhagavan, maintainer of the universe, has thus been described in summary. The universe, the jiva, and none other than the Lord. And jivas are none other than the Lord, but arise from the Lord, who is different from them. Interesting verse. Verse number 57. Sarvesham api vastunam bhavartho bhavati stitah tasyapi bhagavan Krishna kim atad vastuhu rupayatam. The original unmanifested form of material nature is source of all material things. Original unmanifested form of material nature, which means pradhan, and then mahatattva, is the source of all things. And the source of even that subtle material nature is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because the soul of the whole material creation is Karuna Dakshaya Vishnu. What then could one ascertain to be separate from him? Srila Prabhupada, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur writes, someone may ask, why is this so? This verse answer, bhava means unmanifested, bhava. Material nature, pradhan, which is the cause, artho, of the material world. Thus, bhavartho means Krishna, who is the creator of pradhan, which is itself the cause of the material world. Therefore, the verse says, Kim atad vastu rupatyam, who is greater than Krishna. The word vastunam means the sense and intelligence, and bhavartha means atma, the soul who is the cause of the senses. The cause of the soul is Krishna. That can be said to be different from Krishna. Kim atad vastu rupayatam. Therefore, because he is the complete whole, Krishna is the final object of all service. Sri Jiva Goswami writes, actual existence, bhavartha, of all things, actual existence of all things, material and spiritual, situated in the shelter of all existence, such as material efficient cause, bhavati. Krishna possessing all Shaktis is that cause. Brahma realized this advaiva tvadarite asya kim mama na te mayatvam adarshitam. Today, apart from you, the calves, the coward boys, the four-armed Vishnu forms you manifested, all that I saw of the material realm and the beings worshipped, you were nothing but your Maya. This is 14:18, same 10th canto. Please define what object is separate from you, since he is the cause of all things, since he is the root of everything, and was the cause of the appearance of all the boys' calves. He was naturally the shelter of prem in those forms. He would be the object of love for the people of worlds even more. How can the son of Yashoda particularly be called the soul of everyone? If he is said to be the form of Bhagavan, then there are many other forms. As was stated in the previous verse, all the forms, the fixed form like the thousand-headed Vishnu and the movable form like the avatar are within Krishna. He is cause of everything. Nothing exists without him. There is another meaning. What is the other meaning? Among all the objects, the truthful bhav, truthful goal, artha, is conclusion. Is the conclusion. कौन है जो? The goal is prem, whose cause is Bhagavan Krishna. What object can exist without him, without the form of full prem, devoid of all bad qualities? Previously, the shelter of natural prem is established. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. अच्छा व्यो है ना अच्छा 15 मिनट क्लास हल्दी 15 मिनट क्लास हल्दी व्यो व्यो साईं व्यो डंडो खणे तो डंडो जो ख्याल कजो हां अजी मोटा है ते ना ओडे ना ते 15 मिनट मुझे को क्लास ने पूरो कयो क्लास पूरो कयो तेस ता व्यो आई कृष्ण आ बेटा ठीक है हरे कृष्ण. So Sanatana Goswami writes, why is this? Because he is the present everything as supreme cause. Or why do you say that he is the soul of all beings? It is because there is no difference between him and all beings, being same form. This is what Brahma has seen, what we have discussed. Verse 58. Samashritaye padapalva palva, very famous verse. Hare Krishna. मुझे 15 मिनट क्लास लेनी है, आपको भगवान का नाम लेना है. समाश्रिताये पदपल्व पल्वम महत पदम पुण्य यशो मुरारेह भवाम बद्री वत्स पदम परम पदम 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 यद विपदिम न तेषाम. Very famous verse. For those who have accepted the boat of lotus feet of Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation, as the famous as Murari, the enemy of Mura demon. The ocean of the material world is like a wall contained in the calf's hoof print. This goal is the Param Padam. Their goal is Parampadam, Vaikuntha, the place where there is no material miseries, not the place where there is danger every step. Srila Prabhupada disciple life, the translation is from Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 51. According to Sridhar Swami, this verse summarizes the knowledge presented in this section of Bhagavatam. So the knowledge in this section of Bhagavatam means the periods of the Brahma. Lord Krishna's lotus feet are described as palva. One meaning of the palva is flower, buds, because they are most tender and of the pinkish hue. And lotus feet of Krishna is pinkish and is very soft. According to Srila Sanatana Goswami, the word palm also indicates that Lord Krishna's lotus feet are just like desire tree, which can fulfill all the desires of the Lord's pure devotees. Even exalted devotees like Narad, who are themselves the great shelter for all the conditioned souls in this universe, personally take shelter of lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Thus it is natural that even when Lord Krishna manifested himself as all the young boys and calves of the Vrindavan, their parents were more attracted to them than previously. Lord Krishna is the reservoir of all pleasure, and being all attractive, the ultimate object of everyone's love. And Chakravarti Pad writes, in this way, it is proved that Lord Krishna is the final object of pure spiritual love. Only by taking shelter of Krishna's lotus feet does one get liberated, finally realize him. The outstanding position of Krishna's devotee is now made clear. Devotees take shelter, ashrita, only of the boat, palvam, of the lotus feet, padapalva, of Krishna, Murare, whose fame, yash, is charming, beautiful, and pleasing to the heart, punya. Someone may ask, what is that boat like? The boat of Krishna's lotus feet gives shelter to the great devotees, Mahatpadam, who have taken complete shelter, samyak samashritaha. For these devotees, the ocean of the material world, bhavambudhi, becomes like a water in the calf's hoof print that can be crossed without any greater effort. Their goal is the supreme destination, abode, Paramam Padam, Vaikuntha, or Vrindavan. Great devotees never fall into the difficulty, vipadam, because their minds are not attached to anything except the lotus feet of Krishna. And we are going to the verse number 59. Etatte sarvamakyatam yada prishto aham ihatvya tatah kaumare harihi kirtam pongarha parikirtitaha. Now simply, since you inquired from me, I have fully described you those activities of Hari that were performed in his 5th year, Komar age, but not celebrated until the 6th year, which means Pongal. The first 5 is Komar and 6 onward is Pongal. Now verse number 60. Etat suhrdi bhicharitam murare agha ardanam swaha shadaval jemanam cha vyaktireta rupam ajaror abhishtavam shranavam granan iti naro akhilartham. This is the Shruti Phal, this verse. A person who hears or chants these pastime of Murari performed with his coward friends, the killing of Aghasur, taking of lunch on the forest grass, the Lord's manifestation of different forms, and the wonderful prayers offered by Lord Brahma is sure to achieve all his spiritual desires. According to Sanatana Goswami, even one who is only inclined to hear and chant the pastime of Lord Krishna will achieve spiritual perfection. Many devotees seriously engaged in the propagating Krishna consciousness are often so busy that they cannot chant and hear the pastime of Lord to their full satisfaction. However, simply by their intense desire to always chant and hear about the Krishna, they will achieve spiritual perfection. Of course, as far as possible, one should actually vibrate these transcendental pastime of Lord. What Prabhupada's disciple writing, Because of too busyness, we are not relishing mostly this pastime regularly. Chakravarti Pad writes word Shuhrda Charitam, pastime with his intimate friends. It means Krishna's pastime with his intimate friends, which means his eternal associate, Ragatmak Bhakta. Refer to the pastime like this one described in Srimad Bhagvatam 10:12:5. And what is that? All the coward boys used to steal one another's lunch bag. When the boy came to understand that his bag had been taken away, the other boy would throw it further away to a more distant place, and those standing there would throw it still further. When the proprietor of the bag became disappointed, the other boys would laugh, and the proprietor would cry, and then the bag would return. So these are the pastimes. The word vyaktiretad means super mundane or transcendental. The phrase ajaro abhishanam can be broken into aja means Lord Brahma, uru means elaborate, and abhikshanam means the offering of prayers. It means the prayer offered by Brahma. Anyone who hears or chant Brahma's comprehensive prayers about Krishna's transcendental form is playing with his coward boys, killing of Aghasur, and eating with his friends in the forest covered with lush grass will have all his desire fulfilled. In answer whether Brahma's prayer was successful, this verse answers with chemotic nyaya. Yes, everybody else here can be successful. Last verse. Evam viharahi komaram jahato braje nilaya nahi shetu bandai marakato utpal vanadibhi. In this way, the boys spent their childhood in the land of Vrindavan, playing hide and go seek, building play bridges, jumping about like monkeys, and engaging in many other such pastimes. According to the Srila Sanatana Goswami, the word Nilya Nahi means refer to the games such as hide and seek and go seek, or cops and robbers. Sometimes the boys would jump around like the monkeys in Lal Ramchandra's army, and then enact the building of the bridge to Sri Lanka by constructing plate bridges in lakes or ponds. Sometimes the boys would imitate the pastime of churning milk ocean, and sometimes they would play catch with balls. We can find full pleasure in the spiritual world with the simple condition that everything be performed in pure love of Godhead, Krishna conscious. End of the purport by Srila Prabhupada. And Chakravarti Pad writes, King Parishad had asked the question, Brahma kalantar kirtam tata kalinam katham bhaveta. O great sage, how could things done in the past have been described as being done in the present? In verse number 12, chapter, verse 41. Krishna performed the pastime of killing Aghasur during his Komar age. How then, during the Pongal age, beginning from the 5th year, could the boys have described this incident as having happened recently? In this chapter, that question had been answered. Now Sukdev Goswami continues his service of narrating Krishna's pastime. Krishna and Balaram spent their childhood secretly Juhutaha in the village, playing hide and seek and enacting pastime of other incarnation as building bridge to travel, journeying to Lanka and churning the milk ocean. So these are the different pastimes they performed. So we end it here. You can relish these rest of the things. Hare Krishna. Anybody has question or comment? The end of the 14th chapter. This section is over. Anybody has any question or comment? 21 students, good. Param Karuna is okay? So the question is how Krishna is more dear to everybody than oneself. That logic you should write in a small paragraph. Oh, Lalita Madhuri, Leela Madhuri, you have a question?
Yes, very question.
Yes?
Could you please elaborate more about loving Krishna by having relationship with others?
The philosophy which I told that the love is only for Krishna, but we should have a relationship with all our friends, relatives, parents, son, wife. The relation should be because everybody is related to Krishna, so we should give them respect. But original love is in everybody's heart put by Krishna, and it should be reposed back into the Krishna. That is the meaning of love. Love is only for one person, it cannot be divided. But the relation can be kept with everybody perfectly. Anybody else has some question or comment? I think you have a next class. Thank you, Haribol. See you, Krishna willing, some other time in some other section.
Recording stopped.
Thank you very much.
वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. हरे कृष्ण.